Welcome to Reinventing the Arena, the podcast that guides you through the powerful journey of aligning, embodying, and rising into your most authentic self. We dive deep into the transformative power of doing the inner work because the most important relationship you have is the one with yourself. When you align with your authentic self, you naturally attract the relationships and experiences meant for you. I'm your host, Molly Conley, a coach who's passionate about helping you uncover who you truly are using human design, NLP, and self-empowerment tools. Here we explore the art of aligning with your authentic self, embodying your highest potential, and rising above old patterns to create a life that resonates with who you truly are. Whether you're seeking deeper fulfillment in love or your personal journey, this space is designed to inspire your evolution. Together, we'll explore self-discovery, share transformational stories, and uncover the energetic shifts needed to create the love and life you truly desire. This isn't just about change. It's about fully stepping into who you were meant to be. So lady, align, embody, and rise. Welcome to your journey of self-transformation. Welcome to Reinventing the Arena. Hey there, lady. Welcome back to episode 4 of the embodiment series. I am feeling so lit up from today's episode. My sacral is literally on fire. Since I have an undefined throat, I usually have to write out my thoughts for my podcast instead of just going with the flow. Because then with my undefined head, all of a sudden I can go on tangents. So it's not how I'm designed to just go with the flow. And when writing up my notes for the episode, my sacral just got louder and louder and louder. I don't know about you if you have your sacral authority, but sometimes when mine acts this way, it can light up my entire core. It goes like upwards towards my heart center as if it's overflowing. It is, it is honestly so exciting when that happens to me. Anyhow, we're officially in the living your design in real time part of this journey. And today we're talking about something every person faces at some point, and that is releasing expectations. This includes the ones you put on yourself, the ones your family puts on you, the ones the business world tells you that are quote unquote required, and even ones that sound like love and care, but honestly feel like pressure. After Brad and I moved to St. Louis, I told myself it was time to get my business moving even faster. I had just left my corporate job back in Omaha and had an amazing opportunity kind of fall in my lap to do digital marketing freelance with a friend. But I thought the solution was going to be simple after I left that marketing freelance job. There's a lot that I thought I didn't know, so why not buy a marketing program? And I think that's hilarious now when I look at it because I already had over 10 years of marketing experience, and my friend and the company she was working for would not have brought me on if I didn't know enough already. But my undefined ego convinced me I needed it so I could prove something, that I wasn't, doing enough already or knew enough, like I mentioned, that someone else must have the secret formula to build my business for me. What I learned was that majority of marketing programs told you that the main way to be successful in your business and the main way to get clients was to be on Instagram. I'm pausing there because this is total bullshit for me. In the last 5 years, it has been completely untrue, yet I didn't really vocally acknowledge it until this year. In fact, when I go back and look at my numbers, because most of the time numbers don't lie, I've had 2 clients come through Instagram in the last 5 years. Yes, 2. And I was devoting the majority of my time and energy into Instagram content. When I told women in my networking groups that I was thinking of jumping off Instagram, they couldn't even imagine what that would do to my business. So I absorbed, being open and having line 5. I absorbed what they were telling me and I was like, oh yeah, I should stay. And so I did. I stayed. I tried my hardest to create and create and create content, to show up in my stories each workday because I allowed myself to at least have Saturday and Sunday off, to batch content, to see what trends I wanted to jump on, to do all of the things. And all of the things burnt me the fuck out. I had no energy for myself. I had no authentic connection in my relationships, it felt like. I had no real connection or energy sometimes to my clients. It was just like the screen of the lost land of Instagram was sucking the life out of me. So then this summer, I went with a friend to a wonderful vacation in July, and we spent time away from social media as much as possible. And for me, it was so refreshing. I wasn't posting. I might look back at it, but what really happened was that I really started to break that connection, that force. And it felt like I was starting to breathe life back again into myself. So when I came home, I decided to experiment, of course. I started using my human design strategy and authority to decide when and how to create content. But what was interesting, slowly but surely, I started not only to feel my sacral in a different way, but also the differences between the yeses, the nos, and the silence. And over time, my sacral gave me the cue it was time to leave. So on August 6th, I stopped posting, and it has never felt so good. Redefining success for me meant letting go of how success was supposed to look, especially when everyone else tells you that you have to be on Instagram or TikTok or Facebook or whatever. It's no longer about visibility, engagements, or keeping up with everyone else. For me, it's about energy, alignment, and sustainability. So from there, I started a deeper exploration of my chart, my patterns, and how my energy flowed during my days in order to release even more. Because it wasn't just Instagram. I also had to release my expectations around my podcast. And this one really did surprise me. For a long time, I forced myself to stay consistent with episodes because that's what my arrows tell me in human design. Consistency, structure, routine, all of my left-facing arrows, which I do, I have all 4, that supposedly would mean that I should show up every single week at the same time with the same energy. But here's the truth. I wasn't practicing that correctly. I hadn't even tapped into other things because consistency wasn't fulfilling. And I remember when consistency used to be. So at this moment, it was draining me. So that meant something else was out of alignment. My undefined throat was getting exhausted from trying to speak when I had nothing to respond to. Every time I sat down to record a solo episode, just because Tuesday was right around the corner or because I needed to stay in rhythm, stay consistent, my energy would be, it would be lacking. It would evaporate basically into thin air. I wasn't responding. I was performing. And that is the quickest way for a generator to spiral straight into frustration. Because having a podcast as someone with my design is fascinating. Because when I do get excited to share something, it's for one of 2 reasons. First, my sacral is practically vibrating with a yes, just like I mentioned in the beginning of this episode. And 2, someone in my world, a client, a friend, a family member, Brad, sparks something in me that I get to respond to. That is exactly how my design works. I'm not here to just talk and fill air. I'm here to respond, to spark, to experiment, to share what I'm living, not what I'm forcing. When I finally gave myself permission to stop recording just to stay consistent, something else shifted. I realized my most powerful episodes, the ones people email me about, the ones that people used to like message me on Instagram, the ones that clients would bring up in session, come from real lived responses, not a fucking content calendar, not a damn schedule, and not the consistent pressure from everyone else to keep up. And releasing that expectation made me fall back in love with my own voice again. It created space for real inspiration, real insight, and real energy to flow back in. All of this, the Instagram break, the podcast break, has been in perfect alignment with my design because my chart has been telling me that forcing consistency is not my path. Responding is. And last but not least, I've also pulled back from networking completely. And honestly, it has been one of the most aligned decisions I've made this year for my business. Networking in a new to me city has been difficult to say the least. My undefined identity center has never felt like calling St. Louis home. And there's a reason for that. I have tried. I have attended usually like 2 or 3 groups every month. I've walked into rooms that were supposed to feel warm, to feel collaborative. And instead, they felt cliquey. It felt like high school, felt very performative. And the people were obsessed with swapping Instagram follows, which just blows my mind because that's not how algorithms work. And listen, there's nothing wrong with people wanting connection, but for me, I felt like I was walking into other people's drama, other people's baggage, other people's expectations and their values, and then amplifying all of it. Like, this is the joy and the curse of the undefined identity center. If the energy in the room is aligned, it is magic. But if the energy is off, you will feel it in your bones. It's this gross, disgusting ick. And you cannot fake it because you amplify it. And every time I would go to one of these networking events, I just would sometimes start shaking because I'm like, oh, this doesn't feel right. I'm like, is it the coffee? No, it's not the coffee. Is it the drink maybe we're having? No, it's not the drink. Is this person making me feel nervous? No, it's not. And the more I tapped into my design, I was like, this energy is vibrating me. This like, get the fuck out of here. And I had to stop pretending that I felt connected to these groups when I absolutely did not. Now, I did meet a few people, 1 or 2 at each event every once in a while, and I generally felt that they were aligned people. We'd grab coffee, and those relationships have become meaningful. But these groups, especially the larger ones, was just not for me. The more I experimented, the more I realized the expectation of networking harder was coming from conditioning, not from my design. The pressure to belong, the pressure to be seen, the pressure to be quote unquote out there, because every successful entrepreneur does this. But for me, every part of my chart, starting with being a generator, my strategy and authority, my signature theme of satisfaction, and my not self theme of frustration, my 3-5 profile, my individual circuitry, and even my arrows was telling me this is wrong. Slow down, rest, retreat, experiment with something else, and come back when the energy is actually there. So that's what I'm doing with networking. To be honest, I have found one really great networking and collaborative space that feels good. And I'll go back when my sacral tells me it's time. But in this season of my life, the most aligned move has been to do something that I kind of do love this time of year, which is hibernate and really go all in for the people that I'm currently with. Even though this is the busiest season for entrepreneurs and small businesses. And yet, I am loving it because what I've learned is this: releasing expectations isn't failure. It's alignment. It's choosing what works for my energy instead of forcing myself into rooms, bringing on strategies, and putting myself in cycles that drain me. And honestly, I haven't felt this confident, grounded, and motivated in years. And here's just one of the overarching things that I want you to get out of this episode. By releasing the have tos, the shoulds from my business, it left an open space. This space allowed me to make more time for myself, to tend to my needs, and double down on my design. I gained my clarity through utilizing my strategy and authority once I honored my unique energy, which I shared in episode 138. I noticed where I was still leaking energy and tending to myself first before taking action elsewhere. By using specific gates that I have and my life theme, I started to position my life to have multiple moments of presence, which then gave me space for intuition and joy to flow through. Embodying parts of my design really started to shift when I let all of these expectations of what was required of me when running a business. And of course, it it really didn't stop there. Once I saw what releasing expectations would do just in my business alone, I started noticing where I was doing the same thing in other parts of my life. With my family, with my relationships, with social gatherings, with how I show up for people. I really realized I had been placing expectations on myself before these moments even happened. So letting go of those, because they're so close, they can be kind of hard to see. But by doing that, it was so freeing. It was liberating almost. Releasing creates space where your life can actually happen. For me, it's been the space where embodiment went from something that I knew to something that I live. And here's what happened next, because yes, this episode, maybe it'll be a little bit longer than others, but embodiment is just not a quick story. It's a whole arching theme. So once I released my expectations, once I honored my design, once I stopped forcing myself into rooms and platforms and rhythms that just did not belong to me, shit started to move. These last few months, life and business cracked open in ways I just did not expect. Parts of my business, it almost seemed like it shifted overnight. My energy has shifted. My ideas have shifted. My clarity has deepened. And then something wild happened. I felt the pull to invest in myself again, not from pressure, not from fear, not from like this guru has this answer, but from a very forceful sacral yes. So I joined a group of women who love human design just as much as I do, and they are using it in their businesses. Just seeing those women on Zoom lit a new fire inside of my sacral, a fire of connection, of belonging, and being seen by people who speak the same energetic language. Being in that group cracked open deeper layers of my 3-5 profile, and it has allowed me to stand more fully in my voice, to trust my instincts. And the wildest thing is that other women that are 3-5s in that group started reflecting back the value and worth that I hadn't been able to claim for myself. And it was like as if my nervous system finally was like, oh yeah, this is right. This is what alignment feels like. And while all that was happening internally, everything around me started moving too. Like Brad and I were traveling a lot. We started traveling back in, August. We went to Omaha. Then in September, we went to Panama City Beach and Pensacola. And then I went to Denver in the beginning of October. And then we both went to Chicago in the middle of October. And all of that movement stirred things up energetically. It created these pockets of being present. I had moments of joy and expansion that I hadn't really noticed or maybe even made space for myself in a long time. And during those moments, my business started growing. And this is what I'm talking about. I'm seeing an increase in website traffic. People started listening to old podcast episodes even before this embodiment series. I've seen an influx of email subscribers come in, women that I have no connection to, meaning they're not from my knowledge, don't follow the podcast. They're not on my email list. They're not following me on Instagram. They're not past clients, have found me and booked human design readings, connection calls, and new one-on-one clients have found me through alignment, not effort. As I'm recording this, I have more aligned clients than I have ever had before. And I still have space to take care of myself and my energy the way I desire. This is what happens when you release expectations. This is what happens when you stop forcing the plan. This is what happens when you start to live your design instead of talking about it. Alignment is not passive, it's powerful. And when I embodied my design these last few months, my life started to respond in very authentic energy. Here's even a deeper truth behind all of this. Living your design is not passive. It is not something that just happens to you because you know your type or you start memorizing things. Can you fall into alignment? Yeah, maybe the outer parts, but your design doesn't come alive like that. Your design becomes alive when you intentionally step into it through authenticity, when you choose to honor yourself, your energy, and your actual desires instead of the expectations that you've been dragging around with you. It was as if like one area of experimenting led me to another. And because I had created space, I could finally see what was missing and what was actually dominating my life. I was able to shift in real time, not because I had a perfect plan, but because I finally gave myself both the space and the permission to do so. I've said it before in the last few episodes on this series that I'm tired of following the crowd. I was tired of pretending that strategies that were designed by someone else would magically work for me. I'm tired of pretending of what success should look like to the everyday entrepreneur. Because guess what? I'm individual in my design. I am not supposed to follow the pack. I am here to break patterns, not repeat them. So instead of forcing myself to play this, I don't even know, this put me in a box game, I decided to step out and step wholeheartedly into what I actually desired, which is, to feel joy, to feel alive, to be present in my own life instead of checking off another to-do list that doesn't even really belong to me, to, feel empowered and do it through myself. And the energetic exchange to this type of surrender is real. When you stop gripping, life has room to meet you. The more I live my design and embody what it's teaching me, the more I learn, see, hear, and feel what's correct for me right here, right now. Not yesterday, not last year, not according to someone else's version of alignment, but mine. Is it always sunshine and rainbows? Maybe throwing a unicorn in there? No, absolutely not. But that's part of the assignment. The challenges become opportunities. The discomfort becomes wisdom, and the frustration becomes aligned guidance. Every part of it adds to your internal library, your personal story, your personal knowing, honestly. And here is something to sit with. The wisdom you gain from living your design cannot be taken away. It cannot be outsourced. It cannot be embodied by somebody else. It cannot be found in AI. It can only be found in you, in your lived experiences, your experimentation, your alignment, and your embodiment. That's the whole point of human design. To not follow the rules, but to finally follow yourself. If today's episode has sparked something in you, for you, if you felt yourself in some of these stories, in the desire to release, in maybe the shifting or even just the embodiment, I want you to know you don't have to figure out your human design all alone. This is exactly the work I do with my clients. Right now, as I'm recording this, there's at least one way to work with me. The first one is one-on-one coaching, because this is where we take your human design, your energetics, and your lived experiences and put them into motion. You bring what is present. So these are the patterns that you want to break. These are the choices you're currently navigating, the things that you want to release, if those are expectations, things like this. And together we uncover what is aligned, what feels true and correct for you right now. Coaching is personal, it's practical, it's grounded. It's where we really lean into some of those outer layers of human design to trust your strategy and authority instead of pushing, forcing, or performing. So if you're in a season of growth, recalibration, reinventing yourself through transition, coaching is where we go deep. The second is mentorship. So mentorship was not a strategic business move. It's more of a sacral yes that's been born from my own embodiment, through my own experimentation, my own lived experience, and the way my life has shifted these last few months. I felt a very loud and clear pull to offer something deeper, offer something more intimate, something that was more fully aligned with my design. And if you've been here for a while, or if you've read on my blog a few months ago, my sun personality gate is gate 6, and it is all about emotional connection, intimacy, presence, and the kind of accountability that only happens when two people commit to going all in together. So mentorship activates that part of my chart in a way that goes above and beyond coaching. It opens a door to the kind of transformation that is required with devotion from both of us. And because I honor my energy more than ever, mentorship will have limited availability, not from scarcity. I'm not like that, but from integrity and energetic boundaries. Mentorship, once again, is not coaching. It is deeper, it is slower, it is richer on the soul sort of work. Coaching supports your present moment, and mentorship supports your becoming. Because mentorship is for the woman who wants to embody her design in every area of her life, integrate her energy, not just understand it. Maybe she wants to shift identities, not just habits. Build her life around alignment and expand into this version of herself that she knew she always could be. Mentorship is more of the long game, the transformation that happens through experimenting, reflecting, presence, and accountability. And for those that live locally, in 2026, I'm going to include opportunities for an in-person mentorship as well, that deeper connection, deeper embodiment, and deeper energetic alignment. If that is already calling to you, reach out to me and mention it so I can make sure you're first to know when enrollment opens. Whether you're drawn to the grounded support of one-on-one coaching or the deep transformative mentorship, you can find links in the show notes or simply reach out. Your design is not meant to sit on a chart. It is meant to be lived. And if you're ready to live it, it would be an honor to walk beside you. And before I go, I wanted to mention this because it does matter. I am not participating in the chaos of Black Friday. It is loud, it is frantic, it's rooted in urgency. It is basically part of the reason why I left my corporate life. Because I used to work in corporate digital marketing for retailers. It is exhausting. And that is simply not how I live or run my business anymore. But instead, I've created something I'm calling Holiday Alignment. It's a handful of intentional offers for women who want to go into the final weeks of the year feeling grounded, connected, and honoring their energy instead of draining it. If you're curious about what those might look like, just head to my website. You'll find a single page with each offer laid out clearly so you can explore whichever one you are drawn to. Okay, lady, tomorrow is the last episode of the Embodiment series, and I'm going to share how my design gave me clarity about my environment and has set off a whole chain of events for next year. Which reminds me, it's like I have every little, oh, by the way, at the end of this episode, my sacral is saying that I'll be pausing the podcast again until sometime in 2026. So join my email list if you want closer connection to me between now and then. You can do this by grabbing your chart if you don't have it yet, or downloading your Energy and Action Starter Kit. Have a wonderful day, and I will be back with you again tomorrow. Thank you, lady, for joining me on this journey of aligning, embodying, and rising into your most authentic self. Remember, the most important relationship you have is the one you have with yourself. And when you do the inner work, you naturally attract the love and life meant for you. If today's episode resonated with you, I'd love for you to rate and review the show. Your feedback not only helps more women discover the power of self-transformation, but also helps us grow this community. If you're ready to go deeper and align with a relationship and life you truly desire, I invite you to explore my coaching services. Together, we'll use human design, NLP techniques, and self-empowerment tools to help you break through old patterns and create a life that resonates with who you truly are. Visit reinventingthearena.com to learn more and take the next steps in your journey of self-discovery and alignment. Until next time, lady, keep aligning, keep embodying, and keep rising. Thanks for listening to Reinventing the Arena.